All right, the big wide world. Want to do a walking video for you guys, but I'm starting it up here. Why are we starting it up here? Threshold control. Oh, a little spooked by the screen door closing. So walk start at whatever the last threshold is. For me, it's this little extra doggy gate I added. For you, probably your front door. Most people, it's their front door. How do we tackle thresholds? What is threshold control? Essentially, it's just a measure of impulse control. Why are we specific to controlling their impulse at the final threshold? Because the largest emotional weight is going to be shifted at this last threshold, because this last threshold equates to the entire rest of the world and all exciting and new and interesting, unpredictable, heart rate spiking things. So we need to show some control here, as if we can't control ourselves here with the idea of going out into the world, how can we control ourselves out in the world, right? So this is a bit different than stay. It's similar signal with STAY. I put palm straight out. This is going to be weight for thresholds. It's a flat palm. We're not bringing treats out on the walks right now. This is just a general walk. So get it open. Wait. All we got to wait for is him not to walk down those stairs, and if he does, we just back up. Don't got to say anything. Let the leash talk for you. We need to walk down together. Give the command again. Wait. When he's got some focus. There you go. All right. All he needs to do is show that he's not going to run down the stairs. You want to walk together, or him behind us, ideally, but together is fine. Good job. Now we're out and about, right? So, I always train on the same leads that I went over in the videos, but, oh, nice, someone left us a present. But I do, once they start to get really good on the short leash and they've earned it, we'll switch with the little guys only to, I'll clip the training leash to a retractable, actually. Majority of the time, I'm not using the retractable. Good boy. Good boy. The retractable is more just for when we get to like large areas where he could kind of spin around and play and roll in the grass or whatever. I can give that FREE command, and then he can go about his business and have a little more freedom. Reason being, we don't want that all pent up the whole walk and him not to have a big outlet for it. We want, right now, for him to just understand loose leash walking and what's expected of him when he's on the sidewalk with us with our training leash on. Good. But once he gets that, it's fair and it's just to give him, good boy, good boy, room to, oh, we didn't mean to spook you, buddy. It's fair and it's just to give him room to, kind of let some steam off and run around. I'd like to point out how great he just did with that. Oh, you're tangled up. New. Speaking of this perfect example, you want to avoid cross-cutting, whether that's in the front or the back. You want to avoid that. It's not that we're saying, you have to walk in this rigid, oh, we got another one, nice, rigid heel. See how the difference in the walk has changed since the reactivity moment, right? Good boy. Good boy. Why am I good boying a dog shaking? Great question. Things you want to look for on walks, especially with pups, when they're, trying to digest the whole world out there. Good boy! I see you, big man. I know, that's your yard. Things that we want to look for when our pups are trying to digest the big, wide, unpredictable world out there are signs of self-soothing, right? What is self-soothing? It's a way that dogs instinctively know to use their body to calm their brain. So we can't necessarily cue self-soothing, or we shouldn't. See, anytime he cross cuts, back cuts, we're just walking him back over to the right side. You don't want to necessarily try and cue that stuff. If you do, it's not really you cueing it so much as good boy, so much as it is you knowing what the precursors are for it and marking those, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, good job. What we can do is encourage those self-soothing tactics, right? And the more we encourage something, the more we reinforce, the more we are something, the more we increase the behavior, right? We want to increase him rolling in the grass. Yes! Good man! Because that's self-soothing. What are other examples of self-soothing? The shaking like that. A lot of people wonder why dogs will give that big, shake in the beginning. What's he doing? What's the point? Was he cold? Has he got something stuck in his coat? Maybe, but which he does right now. Predominantly, it's because that's a very ingrained way that dogs relieve stress. We want to encourage anything self-soothing. Anything self-soothing is getting rid of that cortisol, right? We don't like cortisol. It serves its purpose from time to time, but we don't need it in abundance. We certainly don't need it out on a walk where we're here as a protector and, we can guide him. Oh my gosh, crazy man. You're going to be filthy. Yeah. Yes, you are. But this is great. Let him go crazy. Let him go crazy. Good job. Just praise, maybe pets, for the encouragement of self-soothing. But we got the rolling in the grass. We got the shakes. What else do we have? What other types of self-soothing do dogs show? Yawning. Yawning is a big one. You'll see dogs with a big, outstretched, right, dramatized yawn. You're a crazy man. You're a crazy man. Right? We'll see them with the big wide mouth. You'll hear a little something, maybe. You will, maybe you won't. I am going to, not with the clicker necessarily on walks, because it's a little bit hard to juggle the clicker and the leash and observing posture for people. It's kind of a tall order. I would just mark verbally. So whereas the clicker is that check mark, when you do not have the clicker, well, yes is our check mark, okay? Get into the habit of that. It makes it easier if you don't like the clicker as much, or if it does become cumbersome on walks, which for most people it is. Oh, yes, man. You can just use yes in place of it, but that is tonal, so try to keep the tone, pretty high pitch, because it's good. We're yesing for good things. Obviously, we're positively reinforcing because we want to increase behavior. So, got the grass rolling. I think he's an expert at that. You got the grass rolling. Come on, bud. You got the shaking. You got the yawning. What other things? What other self-soothing things we can do? Predominantly 2 more. One for a slightly different reason than the other. So we'll do the one that fits more in line with the first 3. Good boy. Sniffing. Sniffing things. Obviously, dog's strongest scent. 300 million more scent receptors than a human. So something that really can change the chemicals around in the brain for, the better. So if they start to, you don't want nose locked down to the ground like the whole time, but if they start to notice something that's extra smelly, extra good, especially around moments of, potential reactivity or moments of just big generalized excitement. Hi, bud. Good boy. We will mark for sniffing. So I work a lot of dogs that are super dog reactive, right? They'll go out, they'll see a dog, they'll get really tense, getting ready for a show, getting ready for a battle, showdown, right? and then I'll get them through it, and you'll notice right after that, they'll start, you know, if they lock onto a bush and they start sniffing that bush super, you know, interestedly, I'm not going to move my dog from that point as quickly as I would before, because I can tell that he's trying to decompress, de-stress, relax himself. He's trying to do it via his strongest sense, right? So we'll go ahead in that moment and allow him to grab a couple extra sniffs, and I'll mark for the sniffs in that moment when I know it's imperative for him tackling, you know, exciting or stressful situations. The last one that I'll say, because it kind of it's attached a little bit to obedience as well as it is kind of a stress reliever. But the last one would be eye contact. I want to shape for eye contact for a super, super long time. Anytime I get it, I'm yesing eye contact. Big yes. He sees birds. He wants to react. We're going to stop. Yes! And we're going to wait for a sit. Good man. And then we move on. So when you do get, boom, the big leash pull like that, hold on there, Mr. Parkour. We just stop. Sometimes if he wants to auto sit, if he's interested in offering an auto sit, that can get the walk to continue. I know I'm getting a little off track, but as long as there is not leash tension, you can continue the walk. Back to what I was saying with the eye contact and it being a little bit more associated with obedience. It's a dog kind of showing, hey man, I see these things, I'm trying to process these things, and I'm looking to you for your feedback on them. It's great behavior. It's great behavior in general, and something that I try to shape real hard. Yep, easy, Mr. Parkour. I know, they're just birds. So he needs a minute with the birds, so we'll give him a minute. If we keep trying to walk and we notice that he's over threshold, he's just gonna, like operations, he's gonna hit that buzzer over and over and over threshold. He's too focused on this bird for whatever reason. I don't really care what his reasoning is. We're gonna wait till he starts to show, yes, more focus back towards us. Whether that's just a directional change like that or eye contact, I would like it to be eye contact. You want to look for a little bit more engagement with you in moments of reactivity. Kind of jumping around because he's showing me some stuff I need to talk about. But what do we hit? 5? Let's see. The rolling in the grass, the shaking, the yawning, the smelling, the eye contact. All wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things to positively reinforce, to increase when you're out on walks. There's not too many things to decrease on walks when you don't have a super reactive dog like him. I mean, we passed, I think, 4 dogs here, and some were going absolutely nutso, and he didn't react to them, so I'm a big, big fan of that. We're going to do that again, too, with at least 2 of them. The only things we really want to decrease when we don't have that outward reactivity would be the leash pulling. And he does pull a lot. He's small, so it doesn't really affect me, but that still shouldn't mean that I let him pull, because if I let him pull, especially on a training leash, he's just going to be building up pressure, and that buildup of pressure, it could eventually, maybe form some reactivity, and you're always better off avoiding behavioral challenges than having to address them later and kind of work backwards. So good job. And it's our walk. I'm not dragging him along. He felt like he needed to stop and scratch there. Let him stop and scratch. That's another moment of him checking in with his body and saying, I need to chill out. I saw that bird. It got real hot and heavy there, and I had to, the spotlight was on, really had to tell that bird off. Now let me, sit and scratch and collect my thoughts. So it's just, good job. Pup's right there. Hi, buddy. Yeah, I know. Good boys. Or girl, I don't know. Good job, though. Even though that was excited and not, anything on the negative spectrum of reactivity is still reactivity. So we want to, we want to walk slower after moments like that. We want to watch the cross cutting. I like to use an analogy. When you're walking your dog, if you were to look at their pattern, their walking pattern on a map, right? We just had a piece of paper and we just had a little blue marker or something, right? And we just drew out where our dog walked compared to us, right? Think about how that would look. We'd be walking, right? Here's the alley, here and here, right? Using sidewalks, rational thinkers, good spatial awareness. A lot of people, if you try to draw that as a solid line and then a dotted line of where their dog walked during that time, especially in training, especially young dogs, ours would look like that right angle and theirs would look like this. Just snaking around, cross-cutting, absolutely nonsensical, spinning around wacko dotted lines. We want to create parallel lines when we're walking, except for those, moments when we give the FREE, like out in the field, give them some free time. If I had the retractable out in that big field there, would have been that's my time to kind of let him go nutty within reason, right? If he starts reacting to those birds, we got to hone it in. If he starts reacting to a dog, to whatever. But he can, I wouldn't say pull necessarily, but he gets a little bit more freedom, in that regard. We kind of, in the free setting or the inactive walk setting, we kind of follow him. And then when he's in an active walk, he follows us. So now he knows we're approaching back close to the home. He smelled it 7 miles away. So now I see this leash tension. I'm going to anchor until he releases that. Good job. I'm not pulling him back towards me. A lot of people mess up slip leads because they allow their dog to just walk on it in a state of constant pressure. Walk with it in a state of constant pressure. Constant pressure is the same thing as good job as no pressure, if that makes sense. If there isn't an on and off, then there is no switch whatsoever, right? He needs to know that switch. So as soon as he gets to the end of that leash, as soon as he starts pulling me around, I do the opposite. I slow down. Sometimes, good job. And sometimes I even anchor. Full stop. Wait for him to relieve the pressure on the leash. So, good boy. Good boy. That took forever. That's your first potty. Let him relieve the tension on the leash. So when you get to that tautness, I'm not going to make it all the way taut because he's not doing anything wrong, especially while he's pottying. I don't want to confuse him, but let's just say, right, leash here. When that's here, when he hits that, I'm not moving. Right, perfect. I'm not moving. Yes, he comes back. Yes, we move along. Just to wrap up our general walk tutorial, when we get back, we want to do the same thing with that threshold that we did when we went out because it carries a lot of weight. It's different association weight association now associated with inside, so affection, a bunch of other good stuff, treats, the other dogs, right? So it's still super high value threshold, so we want to control that impulse. So get a little eye contact first, something. Hey boss, wait. And to make sure he's not breaking the step. Good job. And then you can say, good job, good boy, whatever. That just kind of affirms that he's done what you asked. He walked up nice and slowly together with me. Walk complete. Your walks could be a little bit longer than that, but with his age, I wouldn't push it too long. It's better to have more short walks than it is fewer long walks. He'll get over threshold easier. The world is much more high value to him. Once he becomes desensitized to more things, we can kind of, make longer walks work in our favor. But now it's best to keep them at an average of 20 minutes, so that can dip either way, obviously, a few minutes. But keeping that in mind, that is our ideal time and our ideal process, right? A little bit of free time, a little bit of mess around time, a little bit of work. And then once we get from ING to ED, training to trained, the walks will be very simple. You cut forward, he'll know the rules, you'll know the commands, you'll know the rules, and you'll just be walking. You'll just be being a good boy. Very good job. Let me know if you guys got any questions. Nice work.